Good Friday morning. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. Right now on Morning News Now, vacation mode. Millions of Americans traveling again this Memorial Day weekend. We'll tell you everything you need to know before you head out on this first major holiday after a year under lockdown. Hack attack. Microsoft confirming what it calls an active incident involving Russian hackers and thousands of email accounts. We'll give you the latest details on the widespread operation that's targeting dozens of government agencies. Body and mind. A star fitness instructor speaking out about the importance of mental health. Her message to others as she shares her own struggles. And road to recovery. Golf great Tiger Woods working to get back in the game. A check on his progress and some setbacks as he speaks out for the first time after a major car crash. If there's anyone who could come back, it's probably him.
Yeah, he's done it before.
Yeah, exactly. And happy Friday.
Happy Friday and a holiday weekend.
I know. Look at that. Yeah, and you're traveling for a good story for us.
Work.
Yeah, for work.
It's travel.
You'll still be one of those people hitting the skies.
Exactly.
Like a lot of people, that's actually where we begin with the holiday travel rush that the U.S. hasn't seen in well over a year.
Yeah, AAA says more than 37 million Americans are expected to travel this Memorial Day weekend. That's a 60% increase from last year, a pandemic travel record. So why are more Americans hitting the road? Well, COVID case numbers are at their lowest point in nearly a year. And as of now, 40% of all Americans are fully vaccinated. We're covering it all ahead of this big travel weekend, from the skies to the streets and how to gather safely with others. Let's bring in NBC News Now correspondent Maura Barrett. So, Maura, for the past year on big holiday weekends, health experts and the CDC have been discouraging Americans from traveling. What are they saying about this holiday weekend with so many people expected to escape their homes?
Well, this year is particularly different because, as you mentioned, COVID case numbers are down, and that's a good thing when you're traveling in such tight quarters among other people. But the big difference this year is the fact that a lot of Americans are vaccinated. The CDC director, Dr. Walensky, emphasized that the guidance for travel this weekend, though, very much depends on if you are vaccinated. Take a listen to what she said.
If you are vaccinated, you are protected, and you can enjoy your Memorial Day. If you are not vaccinated, our guidance has not changed for you. You remain at risk of infection. You still need to mask and take other precautions.
That said, too, even if you are fully vaccinated, it's still a federal mandate that you need to wear a mask when you're on the airplanes, Joe.
So these days, an average of 2 million people are now traveling through airports every day. That's still lower than pre-pandemic numbers, but obviously up significantly from last year. So what can travelers expect this weekend when they go to the airport?
Well, as someone that's been traveling for the better part of the last year for work, you know it as well. Airports and airplanes are starting to look a lot more like normal, like we saw pre-pandemic, than they did when those airports were completely empty. Airplanes are no longer blocking out those middle seats to ensure for social distancing, but the TSA is emphasizing that they're still taking these extra precautions in actual airports. Take a listen to their preparations.
Be prepared for the security checkpoint to look a little bit different than you remember. We've added thousands of acrylic barriers and new touchless screening technology to help prevent the spread of COVID-19.
The TSA also advising to prepare for long lines because as you see that added volume, it's inevitable. There's going to be a longer wait time, both in security and at coffee shops within the airports, that kind of thing. So in addition to making sure you pack your masks, also pack your patients.
Yeah, good advice there. There are going to be some long lines there to get through security, and at Starbucks as well. Now, we know strict requirements are still in place if you want to travel out of the country. What about the U.S.? Do some states still have travel restrictions in place?
For the most part, states have lifted their travel restrictions. Massachusetts and Rhode Island, for example, if you're not fully vaccinated, you need to quarantine for 10 days or have a negative COVID test upon arrival. But that disappears if you are fully vaccinated. So for the most part, that's the key to getting back to traveling domestically. The big difference, though, is Hawaii. If you're going to the Aloha State, even if you're fully vaccinated, you need to be able to provide a negative COVID test within 3 days of arrival, or you'll have to do that 10-day quarantine. So something to just keep in mind as everyone's planning their summer vacations.
Jealous of anyone who's doing that trip. All right, Maura Barrett, thank you so much.
NBC News medical contributor Dr. Natalie Azar joins us now. Dr. Azar, good morning. All right, so after every holiday last year, including this one, Memorial Day, we were talking after about a surge in cases. This year, nearly half of all Americans have had at least one vaccine dose. Does that mean we can stop worrying about post-holiday surges, or are you worried about an increase in cases after this 3-day weekend?
You know, Savannah, last year we really did see it after every major holiday, Memorial Day, July 4th, Labor Day. I'm not that concerned this year. Where I am going to be concerned are in geographic pockets, for example, in the South, that don't have the same kind of vaccination rates as we do here, especially in the Northeast. I think we are going to see a little bit of a bump in cases. But remember, most folks are going to be doing things outside rather than inside. And so we know that significantly mitigates the risk of transmission.
So now, Dr. Azar, as we talk about vaccines, kids under 12 are still not eligible, of course. So what should families do if they want to go on vacation, if they're planning to this weekend, anytime over the summer? Should those kids still get tested and mask up if they're visiting other family members? We hear that they can't get sick as much, but they can still carry it. What's the risk here, and what do they need to do?
You know, I think the biggest thing to keep in mind here, Savannah, is that the guidance for unvaccinated folks hasn't changed. And unfortunately, that includes children. So if you are planning on traveling and you are a fully adult vaccinated household, but you still have young kids who are unvaccinated, I would still advise to get them tested 1 to 3 days before travel and 3 to 5 days after travel, and also to lay low, do that little quarantine for about 7 days after you return. And even if you are vaccinated, if you do develop symptoms, you should still isolate and get tested. So, you know, it's tough. I know a lot of folks have this sort of mixed match in their houses. Yeah. You know, when you're outside and you have young kids, even if they're not vaccinated, I think they could go without a mask. But I think people still need to just, you know, button down a little bit, because we know that kids can spread to adults, and we just don't want that to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Good reminders there. And I'm hoping that you can give us a couple more. So we're going to basically be seeing airplanes as full as they were in pre-pandemic times. We've kind of already been seeing that certainly over this weekend. That's expected. And someone's going to be sitting in that dreaded middle seat now. I think we all know at this point to keep our masks on. That's not only required, but of course, the smart thing to do. Sanitize, wipe your seat down, all that kind of stuff. So with those precautions in place, and if you do all that, is it safe, in your opinion, to fly on a totally full plane right now?
Look, during eating and drinking when masks are off, that's obviously going to be a concern. And vaccinated folks do not need to obviously show, documentation of their vaccination status. So you have to assume that when you get on a plane, there's probably going to be a mixed crowd. That said, the air filtration and circulation on airplanes is very, very good. And we haven't seen a lot of viral transmission in that scenario. Driving a car is considered a little bit safer. You can control your environment and how many people you come into contact with. But air travel is important. We need to keep that industry alive, and we all do need to start, feeling a little bit more normal. I just think you need to use common sense with the precautions that you take.
Yeah, and according to a report we'll have later in our show, unless you've got your own car, you might have trouble renting one, which we'll get to a little bit later. Dr. Azar, as always, thank you so much. Good to see you. Happy Memorial Day.
You too.
Yeah, and as we were just saying, more Americans might be ready to travel this Memorial Day, but that doesn't mean all of them can. A rental car shortage is sweeping the nation after companies sold off many of their vehicles at the height of the pandemic. Some are calling this Carmageddon, not to be overly dramatic. NBC News correspondent Cal Perry joins us now from Reagan National Airport. So, Cal, I know you've heard some pretty extreme stories. How bad is this, and where is the shortage hitting the hardest right now?
Yeah, the worst of it is in warm places like Florida, places like Hawaii, where some people are showing up and being told that they may have to use moving vans, the pain of which I cannot imagine. This really is because rental car companies sell their cars once a year in the off season, and they did so a year ago. When you think about it, it's the thing that really nobody needed during the pandemic, and now everybody, of course, wants a rental car. They sold their fleet of cars, and they're having problems replacing those fleets. There's a semiconductor shortage that is adding to the problem. So people are having to be very creative on these holiday weekends about how they get cars. Take a listen to what Brian Kelly told me yesterday. He's the points guy.
People are going to wild extremes due to the rental car shortage. We've heard reports of people renting U-Hauls and moving trucks simply because they needed to get to where they want to go. In places like Hawaii, there's severe Uber driver shortages. You can't even rely on ride-sharing apps like you used to. People are also going to car dealerships and doing extended test drives. And some car dealerships now are even renting cars to desperate people. So if you're in a tough situation, there are ways around it, but you got to be savvy.
You know, Joe, the other thing that's going on here is we have a labor shortage in a lot of different industries, including the car rental industry. I had a problem in Atlanta about a week ago getting a car. There was only one person bringing the cars up to the front where people were ready to rent them. So it was taking an awful long time to get the cars up front, Joe.
But at least you didn't have to get a U-Haul in that situation. So look at the bright side.
That's correct.
Rolling up to the beach in a U-Haul.
I mean, Cal, this is what's key is that a reservation may not guarantee you can even get a car. What happens if you show up to pick up a rental, but they don't have any?
Listen, try those ride-sharing apps, Uber, Lyft. The other thing are companies like Toro. Now it's like an Airbnb for car rentals. If that doesn't work, call your friend Savannah Sellers. She has, I think, private helicopter access certain parts of the country. I'm not quite sure about what work out.
Or maybe you can share a U-Haul with someone. Just everyone pile in the back. All right. Thank you, Cal. Appreciate it. And the unofficial start of summer does kick off this weekend, but will the weather mess up any of your plans? Let's get a check on your Memorial Day weekend weather forecast.
Hi, Bill. Good morning. I think it is going to mess it up for us up here in the Northeast. Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, it's going to mess it up for some people. I'm confused, too, Joe, because Savannah, I thought, said was going to pick us up in her private jet, but now I heard there's a helicopter, so I just need to know what the dress
Jet's
for.
unavailable.
Jet is code for U-Haul.
Yeah.
I'm not helping her move. No, I am not. All right, so let's get into this forecast. So we have plenty of rain out there in the areas of the southeast throughout Texas and northern portions of Louisiana and also right on Greenville, Mississippi. This is just kind of the general rain. As we go throughout this weekend, at least we're not really worried about severe weather. So I got to put some kind of spin on this. But look at Chicago today. 48 degrees. Wow. That is it. That's as warm as it's going to get in Chicago, and that's the area that's heading for the East Coast this weekend. It's already much cooler than it was yesterday. Highs are only going to be in the 60s today in New York and Boston. All right, so let's get into it. The rain today that's in the Midwest, Ohio Valley, heading for the Northeast tonight is going to kind of stall, and it's going to kind of sit there. It's going to be cool and damp on Saturday. Temperatures are going to struggle out of the 50s and the 60s. The West Coast will be just fine. On Sunday, heads up to our friends in the plains, chance of some strong thunderstorms. That could ruin your picnic plans, definitely in areas of Oklahoma, Kansas, and North Texas. And look at southern New England. It stays cool and damp. 57 degrees in Boston. Cape Cod's going to be in the 50s. Long Island's going to be in the 50s for 2 days in a row. And then finally, guys, it does improve a little bit on Monday. A little bit. I mean, it's 60s instead of 50s. But this has to be one of the ugliest Memorial Day weekend forecasts in the Mid-Atlantic region they've had in a long, long time. And you got to feel bad. You know, so many businesses where, everyone's traveling, everyone's back, we're going to spend our money. And then you get a forecast like this.
Yeah. Ugh, that's a good, sad point. I wish that weren't the case. But yeah, especially when it's been so warm. All right. Thank you so much, Bill.
I know.
Investigators are working to understand what led to that workplace attack in a San Jose rail yard. The massacre left 9 people dead, making it the Bay Area's deadliest shooting since 1993. NBC News correspondent Jake Ward joins us now. Jake, good morning. So what more have we learned about the suspected gunman?
Good morning, Savannah. That's right. This morning, pieces are coming into place as to both his motive and his method. Investigators saying that they found in his work locker the basic ingredients of bomb making. And our NBC affiliate KNTV is reporting that, in fact, the shooter was facing a disciplinary hearing for making racist remarks at work on the day of the attack. In addition, the Wall Street Journal is now reporting that after a 2016 trip to the Philippines, he was stopped by Customs and Border Patrol and questioned about manifestos, books on terrorism, and written notes in which he expressed a hatred of his workplace, VTA, where I'm standing right now.
Now, Jake, investigators are also handling a second crime scene, actually, at the suspect's house. It burned to the ground. The fire was happening at the same time as this shooting. You spoke to the suspect's neighbor. What did he describe about what happened there Wednesday?
That's right. The portrait is very dark of a man very isolated. One neighbor that we spoke to, Savannah, said that, in fact, he'd seen almost no one coming and going from the house in the many, many years he lived across the street from him. Have a listen.
I talked to him 5 times, say hi, but he never talked to me, say hi. He's kind of looking and staring at me all the time. He never say hi. He just don't say anything. Kind of scare him. He looked like a scared person. I was scare him. He looks scary though. He doesn't say anything. He's kind of quiet.
At this point, more than 50 FBI agents and agents from other law enforcement agencies are working 5 separate scenes, Savannah, including both the rail yard where I'm standing now and the suspect's home.
And Jake, we're also learning more about the victims, including one who may have saved some of his coworkers. A lot of times we hear about these heroic stories after we've lost someone in a tragedy like this. What can you tell us about that?
That's right. Yesterday, there was a vigil held outside San Jose City Hall in which about 2,000 friends, family, coworkers came together to honor the victims. In fact, the friend of one victim, Taptajdeep Singh, 36-year-old bus and light rail driver, his friend Gurvinder Singh had this to say about him.
We were told by our coworkers what was going on, and we received a call from one of the victims as well. And he said, hey, leave the building. There's a shooter in building B. I would say he saved our life.
He saved our lives. I should point out here, Savannah, Joe, this is America's most diverse, large city. And the faces that you see there of the 9 victims really are the faces of this nation, you guys.
All right, Jake, thank you so much.
Microsoft says the Russian-based hacking group behind the SolarWinds cyber attack is now targeting government agencies, think tanks, and non-governmental organizations. NBC News Chief White House correspondent Kristen Welker joins us with more on this. Kristen, good morning.
Hi, Joe. Good morning to you. On this Friday, the Russian government saying it had no information on the hack, but it has supported attacks like this in the past. Look, this could not come at a more perilous time for the White House. It's gearing up for that high-profile meeting between President Biden and Russian President Vladimir Putin. This morning, a far-reaching attack from Russia on one of America's biggest companies, just ahead of a milestone summit between President Biden and Russian President Vladimir Putin.
I've spoken with him a number of times. We're going to be having a meeting in Switzerland not too long from now.
In what's being called an active incident overnight, Microsoft alerting that hackers from the Russian-based group Nobelium infiltrated an email system used by the State Department's Agency for International Development, targeting organizations doing human rights and humanitarian work, hitting more than 150 groups, 3,000 email accounts in at least 24 countries, but focusing on the U.S. The Russian hackers said to have burrowed into those networks via genuine-looking phishing emails.
This is another example of a shocking campaign that shows how possible it is to furrow into some of the most important and critical systems out there.
Microsoft saying it's the same group behind the massive SolarWinds attack that hit government agencies and American companies last year. That attack eventually linked by U.S. authorities to Russian intelligence. It comes at a particularly delicate time, 3 weeks before the meeting between Presidents Biden and Putin. And just last month, the president announcing sanctions on Russia for the SolarWinds attack and election interference. But the president hoping at the time to de-escalate tensions, claiming Russia could have been more aggressive.
We could have gone further, but I chose not to do so.
With this new wave of attacks, the question now, did Russia ignore the White House's warning and ramp up cyber aggressions as all eyes turn to the meeting between the two world leaders? Yeah, high stakes meeting on the horizon, that's for sure. Well, Microsoft says it detected the attack, blocked some actions automatically, and is now notifying all customers who were targeted. The company also issued a strong warning that these attacks just are not slowing down. We've reached out to the White House and to the State Department. So far, no reaction. Joe and Savannah.
All right. And Kristen, we have to note this is the last time we're going to see you before you leave on your maternity leave. We are so excited and happy for you. I can't imagine as excited as you are, though, right?
I am so excited. I can't wait. I feel so filled up with so much gratitude, in part because my NBC family, you guys have been so loving and supportive. Thank you, Joe and Savannah. I really appreciate it.
Well,
we love you, Kristen.
Yeah, we're going to be thinking of you. All right.
We're so excited.
I'll be watching from home.
Thank you, Kristen.
Thanks, guys.
All right, coming up, the battle over the January 6th Capitol riot commission is still heating up in the Senate.
The question is, will Democrats convince enough Republicans to vote on a bipartisan compromise? Up next.
A late night in the Senate, but still no vote on that bill to create an independent commission to investigate the January 6th riot. That's because some Republican senators took to the floor overnight to discuss a totally different bill, thus stalling the commission vote. NBC News senior Washington correspondent Hallie Jackson joins us now. Hallie, good to see you, my friend. So give us a recap. What happened on the Senate floor last night?
Joe, you called it a late night. Honestly, it was an early morning, up until like 3 a.m. I thought this morning you and I would be talking about that vote to create an independent January 6th commission, but instead you had Republicans drawing out debate on that totally unrelated bill on China, right, until the wee hours. That means that this key procedural vote to establish this investigation by this bipartisan commission will happen at some point later today. We don't know exact timing, but here's the thing. There's a lot of Republican opposition to it. It means it is probably not going to pass. And that may seem unthinkable had we been having this conversation back on January 7th, based on where the Republican Party was then and the public posture. But as is often the case in Washington, you've got politics coming into play. Here's the deal. Republicans are arguing that Democrats could end up using this commission as a political tool to hurt their chances in next year's midterms because, of course, the actions of former President Trump in the days leading up to and on January 6th will probably come under scrutiny. You've got the former president calling the commission a trap. Senator Mitch McConnell, the top Senate Republican, has been lobbying against it. And this is opposition that comes even despite the very personal pitches from the family of Officer Brian Sicknick, who died after defending the Capitol that day. His mother, Gladys, was among those who came here to the Capitol on Thursday to meet with Republican senators, basically saying to reporters, I cannot be quiet. Normally, she says, I'm in the background, but in this instance, I have to come. I have to use my voice. You've got a few Republicans who are breaking with their party to support the bill, including Senator Lisa Murkowski. And, Joe, she spoke with reporters overnight, really criticizing her colleagues for deciding to go for what she called short-term gain politically at the expense of a real understanding of what happened on January 6th. And while she was making those comments, I have to tell you about this scene that unfolded. She was doing it right in front of somebody whose name I know you remember, Officer Eugene Goodman. He was standing at the Senate door. He's the officer who's been praised widely for his bravery in leading rioters away from the Senate chamber that day. And imagine that. He is there that moment, outside the Senate as all of this sort of overnight drama is unfolding, Joe.
All right. And we'll see how it all unfolds today. Hallie Jackson, thank you so much. Good to see you.
Let's bring in NBC News correspondent Leanne Caldwell and stay on this right now. Of course, Leanne covers Capitol Hill for us, so let's dive deeper into that bill that Republicans used to hold up the procedural vote. What will the Innovation and Competition Act do, and what's the likelihood that it passes now?
Good morning, Savannah. So this bill is a big bipartisan bill, really, where Senator Schumer and some Republicans came together and tackled an issue that has been concerning both parties, and that is the rise of China. So one key feature of this legislation would be to expand U.S. manufacturing of microchip here in the United States. So this bill has been the most typical type of legislating we've seen in the Senate for years. It's been done on a bipartisan basis. They've been legislating it for 2 weeks. There's been nearly a dozen amendments on it, most of them Republican. But at these late stages, Republicans keep blocking final passage of this legislation, even though most of this is their bill. And the final passage is not in doubt, but the question is when. It could be deep into this weekend when they finally pass it. And that means deep into this Memorial Day weekend, Savannah, when they finally vote on the January 6th commission bill, because that cannot come until after this bill is passed.
Right. Now, Leanne, Senate Republicans also unveiled their counteroffer on infrastructure coming in before Memorial Day. What are they proposing?
Yeah. They sure are. It's $928 billion, just under that $1 trillion mark. But it $500 billion for roads and bridges, some money for broadband, water infrastructure, airports, and a little sweetener for President Biden on an expansive freight and passenger rail funding. But this is much more than their $568 billion proposal that they unveiled about a month ago. But what this does, Savannah, it just expands it from 5 to 8 years. So many Democrats say this is not acceptable. This really isn't more money. It's just a longer time frame, which of course is more money. And Savannah, of course, they do not agree with how to pay for it. What they do is they take about $700 billion of money allocated in the COVID relief bill over the next decade for the child tax credit, Obamacare expansion, school funding as well, and redirect it to this. But Savannah, President Biden says these negotiations are not over, and he's called the Republicans to the White House, perhaps for a meeting as early as next week.
All right, Leanne, thank you so much.
Former President Trump and his one-time lawyer Rudy Giuliani are asking a judge to toss out a lawsuit over the Capitol Hill riot. A group of Democrats filed the suit, claiming Trump incited the January 6th insurrection. We get more from NBC News Justice correspondent Pete Williams.
These latest responses urge a federal judge to dismiss the lawsuit filed by Congressman Benny Thompson over the Capitol riot. That suit was filed in February and later joined by 10 other House Republicans. The response from the former president mirrors the arguments that he made earlier this week in replying to another lawsuit, one filed by Congressman Eric Swalwell. Mr. Trump says he was acting in his official capacity and urging Congress not to declare Joe Biden the winner of the election, that he did not incite people at a rally outside the White House to violence, and that his statements are, regardless, protected expression. Rudy Giuliani says in his response to the Thompson lawsuit that it was wrong to claim that there was any kind of conspiracy among Trump and his supporters that ended up inciting people to attack the Capitol. His court filing says this, quote, "The conspiracy defies all plausibility and believability on its face. In fact, it makes all of the theories of election fraud look tame by comparison." And he says his use of the phrase trial by combat during the rally on the ellipse referred to future legal challenges, not anything going on in Washington on the day. As for the Oath Keepers, also named in the Thompson lawsuit, their lawyer makes this novel argument. He says the Constitution and federal law don't specify what individual House members are supposed to do when the electoral votes are counted. Therefore, they had no formal role or official conduct that could be the target of interference. The lawyer says that means the House members have no legal standing to sue. He says the House of Representatives does have a duty to observe the vote count, but he says that's an institutional responsibility, not one belonging to individual members. And to the extent that the counting was interrupted, he says Congress has only itself to blame because objections raised by members themselves are what stopped the vote count. Joe, Savannah?
Well, let's take a look at what's making news around the world this morning.
Raf Sanchez is back with us today from London. Hi, Raf. Good morning.
Joe, Savannah, good morning. Just weeks before that first summit between President Biden and President Putin, the U.S. announcing it will not rejoin a historic arms control agreement. The Open Skies Treaty allowed the U.S. and Russia to fly surveillance flights over each other's territory to monitor military activity. But the State Department says Russia consistently violated the agreement, something Russia denies. Germany is formally recognizing that it committed genocide in Namibia in the early 20th century. Up to 100,000 people were killed by German troops as they put down an uprising from 1904 to 1907. Germany has agreed to pay $1.3 billion in reparations for what it calls immeasurable suffering. And finally, China is opening a new panda visitors center today. Among the 10 pandas is the world's only brown panda bred in captivity. His name is Kizai. He's 11 years old, and he's part of an extremely rare subspecies. And guys, those black and white pandas that we're used to, they really look like bears, but these brown pandas, they're actually a little sleeker. They almost look like big cats. Guys?
All right, Raf.
Very cool. Little knowledge there. All right. Thank you, Raf.
Love it. Good animal story.
Coming up, a candid conversation as we close out Mental Health Awareness Month.
I spoke with a popular Peloton instructor working to destigmatize mental health issues next.
This year marked 1 year since the death of George Floyd, a moment that sparked conversations about police reform that continue today. Today Show anchor Craig Melvin sat down with 3 black officers to find out what the last 12 months have been like. He also asked what can be done to bridge the gap between police and communities of color.
Your leaders, your police chiefs and your sheriffs around the country have to realize that they don't have all the answers. And just because you sit at the very top of that chain, you want to open a door for the community members to come to the table and have these kind of difficult, complicated dialogues, and allow them to help you craft certain policies geared towards community policing.
So when you invite them to the table, don't just do it to take a picture to say I invited people to the table. Don't just do it to say I heard your talks and your conversations. Actually implement some things. Be accountable for your failures.
You can watch the rest of Craig's conversation today on his show on MSNBC at 11 a.m. Eastern.
We've been reporting throughout the month of May, Mental Health Awareness Month, on the struggles so many of us face. Suicide and suicidal thoughts are not often tackled on morning television, but with the mental health crisis experts are warning of after the year we've had, we don't want to shy away from it and know someone out there might be helped by this next conversation. Kendall Toole is a popular Peloton instructor, but she's also been bravely sharing her own mental health journey, making others feel less alone along the way.
Right about when I was 10 or 11, I was diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder. My feet had to be clean. I had a certain bedtime routine that my parents had to tuck me in a certain way. And the fear was that if I didn't complete these tasks and these rituals, that something bad would happen to somebody that I loved.
Before she was a popular Peloton instructor, Kendall Toole was a young girl who, like so many, was struggling with her mental health.
I was so nervous to go to therapy. It is a nerve-wracking thing, and it shouldn't be, but I always felt this level of emptiness and this level of numbness. And it got to an inflection point my senior year. The suicidal thoughts came in. I was very close to going through the act. And I had this flash, and I've spoken about this, of seeing what life would have become of my family had I made that decision. And that was what pulled me back.
Now, as a 28-year-old public figure with a growing fan base, she's using her platform to candidly talk about her experience with suicidal thoughts and the importance of mental wellness, hoping to destigmatize these issues and maybe save a life.
We have the opportunity, because of the pandemic that we are a part of, to speak about it, because we've all been forced to look at it. If we're afraid to say the word suicide, we're not going to get to addressing the problem.
Maybe the hardest part, but also the most important, of course, is actually telling somebody. For someone who thinks that, for example, they are going to burden someone else by telling them this, what would you say to that?
Asking somebody for help is the greatest gift you can give the person you're asking. And it gives them the opportunity to be of service and to show their love for you in a way that they probably want to. Well, guess what? What thing in our life have we ever done alone? People need people. Yeah. We can't do stuff alone. So why would our mental health be any different?
It's a message she preaches where she knows her followers will hear it.
Because you have enough. You are all that you need, and you have it right now.
So you do these mental health awareness rides. There was one point when you were opening up, and it seemed even like you were a little choked up, and you said, I thought I was unfixable. I'm going to get choked up repeating it. What would you say to somebody who feels like that's them right now?
Unfixable means that there's some type of perfect figure that you're supposed to be. We start to dismantle and acknowledge that that doesn't have to exist. You're not broken. You were never broken.
Now that you have this super successful career, you're beautiful, you're known in this wellness space, somebody could be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she would feel that way.
You can be a captain of industry and have suicidal thoughts. And so when we understand and we have an empathy for each other's humanity, we are not so quick to judge and say, well, you have everything and life's easy for you. It affects everybody. It doesn't discriminate.
As I started opening up about this stuff, as I started talking about, as you have, the issues that I had when I was younger, there was this fear, at least initially for me, of oh my gosh, are people going to think I'm unhinged, or I need to be handled with kid gloves? And so to open up about something like having thought about suicide, what's that like?
It's scary. It's hard. I'm not going to lie, this month talking about it and re-acknowledging and it's like reopening a wound. But with that, if I don't acknowledge that that's a part of my story, that's a part of me too. And if I am going to self-edit or self-curate, then how dare I ask anybody on a bike through Peloton or any member, anybody else to show up authentically if I'm not doing the same thing myself?
There has been such a response from people just thanking you. What's that like for you to share something like this and know how much it helps other people?
It's by and large the single greatest thing. This time of pandemic, the hardest part was feeling isolated. So to know that something that I can share, or that just being honest, helps somebody else feel connected, I feel like I'm getting to hold their hand. I'm feeling like I get to give them a hug.
I want to bring in Dr. Soumya Dave. She's a practicing psychiatrist and mental health advocate. Doctor, thank you so much for being here with us to talk about something so important. We just heard Kendall talk about asking for help, which, as I said in that piece, might sometimes be the hardest part for someone who's thinking that resonated with me. What she said there, that process being scary. How do you start it? What would you say to that?
So it can be so scary, it can be so overwhelming, and I agree with her. Asking for help can be such a courageous thing to do, and it can be the best thing you do to that person when you're asking. I think there are a number of different steps that can work depending on where someone is at. So first, if someone just wants more information about what's going on, looking at resources like where to find a mental health provider, starting with the primary care provider can be a great place to see if that person can give a reference. PsychologyToday.com has ways to look up mental health providers by services and by location. And of course, the support group might sound like a better fit. Then Mental Health America has a way to look up support groups by topic. There's also a hotline. Some people have said, I don't know if I want to see someone regularly, but I want someone to talk to when I feel the need to do that. And so the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline has a 24/7 access with counselors available at all times. And then, of course, there are other resources online as well if somebody wants to look into that.
Doctor, how about if you are a friend or a relative? What are the warning signs that you should be looking out for, and how can all of us check in with our loved ones, especially during this time?
I think that is such an important and relevant question for all of us. So first, we want to think about any changes in behavior for that person. So is your loved one responding less to phone calls or to texts than how they usually would? Are there changes in their mood? Now, I know we talk about things like sadness and depression a lot, but I do want to highlight that irritability and anger can also be signs that we really need to look into something more, and there might be some distress going on. Has someone been responsive less in other parts of their life? Have they not been showing up to work? If they're in school, are their grades suffering? Has there been an increased use of substances? We think about alcohol, we think about other recreational substances. Any sign that those things are going up, and those are maybe being used as a way to cope with tough emotions. And of course, if someone is expressing thoughts of harm, now that can come in an active form. Someone saying something like, I don't want to be here anymore, I'm going to do something to harm myself. But I also do want to emphasize that it can come in a passive form. So if someone says something along the lines of, I don't want to wake up, or I hope something bad happens to me so I don't have to cope with my life, those can be things as well.
Really, really, really great warning signs there. Thank you so much. Also, the pandemic shined this bright light on so many aspects of mental health. I think for the first time, a lot of people really kind of had to deal with theirs, or were confronted with the fact that they might need some help. And now that the country's getting back to normal, we're opening up again, what challenges do you anticipate with the adjustment, and what advice would you give someone kind of easing back into this?
Another fantastic question, and one that is definitely coming up in all of my settings. So I think that re-entry into the new world is going to be different for each person. So I would ask everyone to give themselves some grace and self-compassion. There may be more anxiety. There may be more of a feeling of just being overwhelmed by possibilities opening up again. There may also be a lot of grief because we've been through a lot over the past year plus. And so processing that may take time, and there might be feelings of guilt about having survived that.
Dr. Dave, thank you so much. We really appreciate this. And as the doctor mentioned, if you or anyone you know is struggling, you can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. We want to give you that information. The phone number is 800-273-8255, or you can text TALK to 741-741. Coming up, a shot for the win. If you got a COVID vaccine at CVS, you could cash in big.
The pharmacy's new incentives meant to get more people vaccinated. Up next.
Fans all around the world watched Friends the Reunion yesterday, but viewers in China saw a little less of it. 6 minutes to be exact. About 6 minutes of the special was cut on Chinese streaming platforms, including LGBTQ references and shots of Matt LeBlanc in his underwear. Footage of K-pop group BTS was also edited out. The band has been accused of insulting China in the past for comments one band member made honoring sacrifices during the Korean War. And Lady Gaga singing Smelly Cat was taken out, as was Justin Bieber's brief cameo. Both stars have also been involved in controversies with China. Friends has a large fan base in China, and overall the response to the special on review sites has been positive, certainly by those who love Friends.
Yeah, the response to the parts that they saw anyway have been positive.
Exactly. Most of us saw the rest.
Yes, all right. Thanks, Joe. This morning, an option to hide those likes on Instagram and Facebook, and what deals to watch out for over the holiday weekend. NBC News investigative and consumer correspondent, our friend Vicki Nguyen, has this week's edition of Good to Know.
Good morning. You may or may not like this. Facebook and Instagram announced this week they're going to allow users to hide likes on their posts. They can also choose whether they want to see likes on other users' posts. I'm actually really liking this. I think it's going to be nice to get a break from being so obsessed with those numbers. Are you booking a last-minute trip? Airbnb is making the process a lot easier by offering flexible searches for destinations and dates. Potential guests can search from a weekend getaway to stays for a month or longer. Attention bargain hunters, this Memorial Day weekend, be on the lookout for savings from outdoor furniture to electronics and even beauty products. Lowe's, Home Depot, REI, Nike, J.Crew, and Wayfair, just to name a few. Happy shopping. Still not sure if you want the COVID vaccine? This may be the incentive you need. CVS is the latest to offer prizes for people who plan to receive or have received their vaccine at a CVS pharmacy. Customers can enter the One Step Closer sweepstakes for the chance to win one of more than 1,000 prizes, including VIP tickets to next year's Super Bowl, a cruise, or $5,000. You have to enter by July 10th. Burger lovers, this is for you. Today is National Burger Day. McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Red Robin, and a whole bunch more restaurants are offering deals today. Not all the deals are available in all of the stores, so you do want to check the chain's app for more info. For News Now, I'm Vicki Nguyen, and that's Good to Know.
Tiger Woods is speaking out after his car careened off a highway.
What the golf star is saying about his recovery next. Tiger Woods is no stranger to pain and rehabilitation, having come back from 5 major back surgeries to triumph at the 2019 Masters. But in his first interview since his car crash in February, the golf legend says this recovery is more painful than anything he has experienced.
NBC News correspondent Stephanie Gosk joins us now with more on this. Hey, Steph, thanks for being here.
Hey guys, good morning. You know, this is Tiger Woods' first interview since the accident, and he suffered multiple compound fractures in his right leg. And while the whole world wants to know if he's going to return to professional golf, Tiger Woods says he's just focused on walking again. Tiger Woods, with his steely-eyed focus and desire to win, now facing the most difficult physical challenge of his life, telling Golf Digest in his first interview since February's devastating accident that this rehab was more painful than anything he has ever experienced.
From what we know, he almost died.
You just look at that vehicle. Woods drove off the road on the morning of February 23rd, the front end of his SUV completely destroyed. Woods, suffering major injuries to his right leg, was trapped inside and had to be extracted by firefighters. The LA County Sheriff's Department says he was speeding and lost control. There was no sign that he was impaired, police say, and there were no charges. Woods immediately went into surgery. He wouldn't make it home to Florida until a month later, according to Golf Digest. When asked if he would make a return to golf, Woods didn't comment, instead saying, "I am focused on my number one goal right now, walking on my own, taking it one step at a time." Dan Rappaport interviewed the golf legend. You know Tiger Woods, you've covered him for a while. What do you think he's going to do?
I think it's too early from their perspective to try to speculate. He said his goal right now is to walk, right? So that's a long way away from playing golf, which is a long way away from playing competitive golf. Those are two different things.
Woods has battled back from injuries before, including 5 back surgeries. He was still in rehab before the accident.
Still in the gym, still doing the mundane stuff that you have to do for rehab.
Since the crash, Woods has kept a low profile, a few social media posts, a photo with a young girl battling cancer, and he called Phil Mickelson's historic win at age 50 inspirational. And while the road back would be tough, those who know Tiger say don't count him out.
If anybody can kind of work hard enough to get themselves to overcome something like this, you know, he'd be the one. You know, he's as determined an athlete as I've ever covered in all the years I've covered sports.
This is an incredibly complicated injury. He broke both his tibia and fibula. And Dan Rappaport from Golf Digest tells me that there are a lot of unknowns about his recovery, among them whether or not Tiger Woods is going to need surgery again. Guys?
All right, Stephanie, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
During World War II, hundreds of American servicemen perished aboard submarines, many of which were never found.
NBC Nightly News anchor Lester Holt brings us the story of one deep-sea explorer on a mission to find them all.
Savannah and Joe, as we head into the Memorial Day weekend, we have a story of loss and discovery and the search for the 52 American submarines that disappeared during World War II.
Frederick Cashel was a Navy engineer with a dangerous job, test running submarines during World War II. But to his daughter, Helen Cashel Baldwin, he was just daddy.
I thought he was Popeye because he was a sailor man.
When did you first learn that something was wrong?
When a couple of naval officers came to our house.
The USS R-12 submarine her father was on had disappeared in the Florida Straits.
I found myself looking for him because there was never a funeral. There was nothing.
Nothing until 70 years later, a discovery by ocean explorer Tim Taylor, who found the R-12 on the bottom of the ocean.
It was not like any other discovery I'd ever made. There were 42 souls on board.
Taylor built a website and announced he was looking for surviving relatives. Thanks to a nephew fascinated by submarines, the website was emailed to Helen.
Well, I called, and it was Tim Taylor. And we talked, and I was so excited that I could say that I was his daughter.
Taylor made it his mission to find the rest of the lost 52 submarines from World War II. So far, he's found 5. And this week, he was honored with the Navy's highest civilian award, the Distinguished Public Service Medal.
The historic value and importance of our work focuses on giving back to these families who supported our country with the ultimate sacrifice.
For every family he finds comes the opportunity of a lifetime. Helen and her siblings sailed out directly above where the R-12 rests, at the bottom of the ocean.
70 years of waiting. It was a life-changing experience.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.